Okay, rolling. Or, yeah. Hang on, I gotta record my audio here. Alright, so everything's recorded now?
Yeah.
Alright, well. Hang on, let's just get started. Alright. There we go. Alright, well, welcome to the first episode of The Little Dude. I don't know why I named it that.
Because you're the little dude.
Yeah, I'm the little dude. Alright. I don't know if you can tell from the seating, but, you know, you don't have to, I don't have a height thing here, so. Anyway, this is Chris here with me. He's an avid Game of Thrones fan like myself.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, get started. Why don't we start with like why we love Game of Thrones? What it is about this show that has taken over our lives.
Because it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's not like anything else on television because literally everyone is at risk.
Yes.
Unlike any other program on TV where it's like, oh, you know, no matter how bad it looks, you know the hero's going to survive and win the day. Maybe he'll get like a cool little scar or something that's going to be gone next episode.
Yeah.
But in Game of Thrones, people die. And generally they stay dead.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the things that has taken everybody by storm, I think. Just the shock value of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, it's like, I always loved Lord of the Rings growing up, and this is just like Lord of the Rings times 10.
Yeah.
Like, just the violence. And
Minus the elves, though.
Yeah,
no
minus
elves.
the elves. No elves. But you got little guy. You got one little guy.
Not anymore. Little guy.
No.
Yeah. Well, okay. You're talking about Tyrion?
Yeah, it's talking about
Tyrion.
Tyrion.
Okay.
Yeah, the one guy.
He's not an elf. He's a dwarf.
I know. But he's more like a hobbit, really.
Yeah.
And that's what I associate with most in life, obviously.
Okay.
For
I wasn't going to say it.
But he's a badass. He's a total badass.
He is, yeah.
And so did you ever like read the books before?
I did not. When the show initially started, I was going to read the books.
Yeah.
You know, I went and got them all.
It's like so much though.
Yeah, it's so much book.
It's too much.
It's just so much. And the problem is that the first few episodes of the first season are basically the first couple of chapters of the books.
Yeah.
As far as getting, it's like, I've already seen this, like, come on, fast forward, but...
And it's a lot more, like, in detail.
Yeah.
A lot more. Yeah. That's just the thing with books and movies in general, I think.
And I didn't want to be one of those assholes who's like, you know, oh, I read the books, and so, you know, since I read the books, I know what's going to happen.
But now they don't, though.
Oh, yeah, now.
Everything,
the
everything's
tables
new.
have turned.
Oh, yeah. That's like...
So, Mr. Book Reader.
Yeah. Now, when the books come out, we're like, oh, I already know what's going to happen. I'll spoil this book for you.
Yeah.
Do you think people who are reading the books have stopped watching the show so they don't get spoiled?
I doubt it, since last week's episode was pirated like 90 million times or something.
That's because it got leaked like a week ahead.
Yeah.
So. I don't know.
Yeah. I imagine there may be a few book readers who have stopped with the show because they don't want the next book spoiled.
Fans, right?
But they've been waiting for that next book for what, 12 years now or something?
A
They've
long
been waiting
time.
forever.
Ridiculously long time, yes.
Yeah.
And so with that, like, this show has brought about like in culture like a new fear of spoilers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a whole new
I don't know about fear, but I think
like
revulsion for them.
like fear of getting of the show being spoiled for you, and then like when you're talking with friends, you don't want to spoil it, or at least us, we don't talk about it if somebody hasn't. So like really dumbs down our conversations, and it's just like we have to get into a secret room with deafening walls and
soundproofing and code signals and well, I think it's because Game of Thrones is a show with actual consequences, unlike everything else on television. I mean, if you miss an episode of what's another popular show on TV, like I don't know, Arrow or something like that, I don't watch that.
Or Walking Dead or something.
I don't watch Arrow. It's the one that I think I saw a commercial for it, and it's the one that's in my head. But if you miss an episode of that, then you might miss a spoiler. But odds are, by the time you come back to it next week, it'll have been resolved, or it'll be in the previews for it that you're going to see everywhere. And so, you'll catch back up. You know, it's not.
Yeah.
Your favorite character probably didn't die, and even if they did, they're probably going to come back because that's how comic book movies work.
But they got those awesome crossover episodes.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. But with Game of Thrones, where there are real consequences and things change dramatically from episode to episode, you know, missing an episode, being late to see it, a spoiler will just ruin everything.
Just ruin your whole day.
For example, okay, you want to talk about the latest one?
Sure.
The latest episode? Okay, spoilers if you haven't seen the latest episode, which is
warning.
Which is what, episode 4?
Yeah.
This season?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so if you have not seen the most recent episode, at the very end of it, Jaime Lannister sinks his ass into a river.
He's not dead, though. He can't be dead.
We don't know that
He's
yet.
He's not dead.
But if you haven't seen the episode,
not that deep.
If somebody came up to you and was like, Jaime Lannister is dead, you'd be like, oh my god, no, Jaime, no! Because it's a real thing that can really happen. I mean, they stabbed Jon Snow, everyone's favorite, a bunch of times and killed his ass.
I'm surprised he wasn't stabbed in the back. Like, everybody in that show gets stabbed in the back.
Yeah.
Jaime got saved by a backstab. Everybody gets saved by a backstab.
Yeah.
In this show.
But
just saying, like, I should have, somebody should have stabbed him.
They literally murdered everyone's favorite character for an entire season break. And then spent the entire season break saying, oh no, he's totally dead. He's not coming back. Did he even resurrect in the first episode, or was it in the second?
No, it was the second episode.
Second episode. Yeah. So, yeah.
But they laid it out, though. They, whatever...
They
the
put
Onion Knight dude.
Yeah, they put the pieces in motion, but he was dead for an entire season break and premiere episode.
And didn't do any promo leading up to the season.
Actually, 2 episodes, because he didn't wake up till the end of the second episode.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
So, yeah. You know. Jaime Lannister may not be coming back from this.
I think he is. I don't think he'll die.
I think it would be ridiculous to have him saved from Dragonfire at the last second, only to drown in a river.
Jaime. He has other things. He has that's another point I want to get into, the theories. There's a theory, with the prophecy of Cersei getting killed by a younger brother.
By the Valonqar?
Is it going to be Tyrion or is it going to be Jaime?
Well,
Jaime is already a king slayer. Is he going to be a queen slayer? That's the thing people are talking about. So, I mean, he might have things to do.
I don't know. I mean, there is... one interpretation of that theory is actually that the theory doesn't say her younger brother. It says the younger brother is the prophecy. That's what Valonqar means. So, it might not be her younger brother that kills her, but somebody else's younger brother. So it could be Jon Snow. He was Robb Stark's younger brother. So
that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous interpretation of that prophecy.
Hey, could be anybody's younger brother.
I don't know about all that. But another prophecy coming around is the prince. I forget what it's called.
Oh, the prince that was promised. Azor Ahai.
Yeah. That whole thing. Who do you think that's supposed to be?
Well, as we learned in the latest season, Azor Ahai, the prince that was promised, the Valyrian word for prince is gender neutral. So it could mean prince or princess. So some people think that it's Jon Snow, and some people think that it's Khaleesi herself, Daenerys Targaryen.
What if it's just somebody totally out of left field? What if it's Arya or something?
I was reading a theory about this, and there is a very convincing argument that the prince that was promised may well be Davos Seaworth. Oh,
that would be crazy.
Way out of left field there.
That would be ridiculous. Is he supposed to have his tips of his fingers cut off?
The prince that was promised. Let me Google this real quick. The return of the prince that was promised, something by he will be reborn in salt and smoke. So, let's see here. According to the prophecy, the figure will be reborn amid salt and smoke and pull a flaming sword from the flames, Lightbringer, to combat an impending darkness. So, I read a theory about how this might actually be Davos Seaworth.
That just seems crazy to me.
Because way back when we first meet Stannis and Davos on the shores of Dragonstone, where he's burning the idols and pulls the sword from the flames and calls it Lightbringer. Yeah. Way back when, after everybody wanders off to go, feast over the dead people or something, one person stays behind and picks the sword up, and that was Davos Seaworth. And then at the Battle of the Blackwater, Davos gets blowed up Again, spoilers if you haven't seen that episode from like season 4, I think 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Yeah.
Way back when. Oh yeah. Adam, our camera guy, hasn't really been following any of this, so everything is.
We said spoiler alert.
Yeah, everything is ruined for Adam. This is what happens when you volunteer to cam up for a show about a show that you haven't seen. Sorry.
I guess I should have told him that it was about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, maybe you should have warned him a little bit, or reminded me so that we didn't talk about the latest spoilers.
That's better.
Yeah.
This show's about overcoming the fear of spoilers. See, that's why I brought that up. Overcoming fear. Because spoilers are just like, I think, people get a little too mad about it.
They do a little bit. They feel like their enjoyment of the show is going to be reduced by having something spoiled, and to an extent, you don't want to give up like the big reveal. Okay, Adam, you've seen Star Wars, right? Force Awakens. You've seen that?
Oh my god, this guy.
See, this is what happens. Because there's a very important spoilery moment in there that I can't reference because he hasn't seen it. Mm-hmm. And if we tell him to cover his ears so he can't hear it, he's not going to be doing his job. And
See, Adam's the problem with the world.
Okay.
So you've seen
Lord of the Rings. You've seen Lord of the Rings all the way through? Okay, so we get to the end. There's some stuff that happens in like the third movie that, is kind of spoilery. Like, Aragorn, he like fights for the king and things and stuff, and doesn't, like, the one guy gets killed and something, But like the big spoiler from that is that they get all the way to Mordor and Frodo
doesn't throw the ring.
Doesn't want to throw the ring in. So like if you tell somebody that Aragorn, he like returns to the kingdoms of men and wants to fight, for the good fight and all that stuff, then yes, that's kind of a spoiler, but everybody figured it was going to happen.
Yeah.
The big spoiler is the end one, though, at the climax, and that's the one that you get super upset about when people, ruin it for you. So, yeah, it's hard to talk about anything without being spoilery, because every bit of content is a little bit of a spoiler.
Yeah.
But
I don't really worry about spoilers. To me, it's like how it happens, not what happens at the end. It's like it's that the journey is what's exciting, not the destination.
I think that's another possible problem that people have with spoilers is that you get the spoilers out of context.
Yeah.
And so to just get a spoiler is like, what? That what? It was like, no. When you watch it in context, it makes more sense, or maybe you could see it coming, or
yeah.
It's better to get it in context rather than just like, yeah, this happens. Like, you what? You have destroyed my entire worldview.
So we kind of got off track from the theory, the prince thing. But what about I always forget his name. The dude that comes back like all the time. The dude who's been dying. That one.
Oh, Beric Dondarrion?
Yeah, that guy. He actually used a fire sword against the Hound.
Mm-hmm.
You think he might be? Because they're going up to fight the White Walkers at the because the Hound saw the vision in the fire, so they know where the White Walkers are going to cross the wall. Is that where they're going?
I
haven't seen them since then.
I believe that yes, they were going to be headed north.
So is he going to be using some fire sword action on these White Walkers?
It's quite possible, but I don't think that Beric Dondarrion will be the prince that is promised. I mean, he does keep getting revived for some reason.
Yeah,
but
it's for a reason.
Yeah, but we don't have enough information about him to really proclaim him the prince that was promised.
That's because he's hardly on the show. He's the most badass guy, I think. Like, he's always coming back. He's got the eye patch. He looks cool. He's got a fire sword.
He keeps getting killed, though.
Because he's not a good fighter.
Yeah, look at everybody else on this show who gets in all these fights and doesn't get killed at the end of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've only seen, 3 lost fights. John got stabbed, and he's back now. The Hound got his ass handed to him by Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah.
But he survived that with some help. But yeah, everybody else who, gets killed at the end of a fight stays dead.
Yeah. So, let's talk about the effects that Game of Thrones has had on the rest of the TV show industry. Like, you hear a lot of shows coming out and they always compare it to Game of Thrones. Like the shows like Game of Thrones for superheroes or something, like with Luke Cage or something like that. Cause Luke Cage had a major character die in the middle of the season, who I thought was going to go all the way through.
Yeah, that was That was a little shocking. That's a spoiler there that we're not going to get into.
I didn't say which characters. Somebody dies in Game of Thrones.
Yes, someone.
Luke Cage, sorry.
Yes, someone in that show dies.
So how long do you think we'll be hearing this Game of Thrones comparison for shows coming out?
Probably forever.
Yeah, because I mean it's set such a high bar now.
It really has. Interesting factoid: Game of Thrones actually costs as much per episode to produce as Friends.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, $10 million an episode is their budget.
Is that because the cast wanted so much money?
Yes, the cast of Friends wanted so much money per episode. Whereas Game of Thrones is all in.
It's just dragons.
Yes, dragons. So many dragons.
Fire.
Yes, fire. But yeah, I think that we're probably going to be comparing things to Game of Thrones for a long time because it is such a phenomenon.
Yeah.
They're already talking about multiple additional programs they want to do.
Like spin-offs and
prequels and
yeah.
things like that. I guess they're talking about going back and showing Robert's Rebellion.
I heard something that it's going to be totally different characters in that. Like it's going to go all the way back to when the last time the dragons were around, I think, maybe.
It's possible.
Which would be cool.
Yeah.
Why don't we get both of them?
They're talking about like 3 or 4 different shows they want to produce in the Thrones universe.
So, I mean, they already got the young Ned, so let's get that guy back. And
yeah, we got a young Ned.
Get a Robert.
Yeah, we need a young Robert. We need to find a Rhaegar and a Mad King and a young Jaime and yeah.
That would be cool.
It would be kind of cool to go back and
battles,
see the rebellion. But yes, there would be probably a lot more pitched battles.
Which would be awesome because
yeah,
that's the one thing Game of Thrones has been missing. But now this season, since it's shorter and they got more money in each episode, it's a lot more battle. Like the last 3 episodes have had something happen.
Yes.
Like, whereas the past few seasons, only been like 1 episode at the end that has a major battle in it.
Well, it's been a political drama up to this point, and now we're coming into the end game. Okay, we're in Act 3, and everything is coming together, and we're going to see how it all turns out.
It's going to be crazy.
Yes, it is. But interesting note: in season 1, the battle with Robb's forces and versus the Lannisters and Tyrion's, Hill Tribe army, way back in season 1. You remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Well, they didn't actually show the battle, but they were supposed to.
Oh, you mean like during the War of the Five Kings?
Yeah, during the War of the Five Kings.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of off-screen battles.
Yeah. They were supposed to actually show that one at least, but they turned out they were going to be short a few minutes on like a bunch of other episodes. So instead of filming this one big battle for this episode, they took the budget they were going to spend on that and they spent it on shooting additional scenes to fill in the other episodes, which is why there was a lot of scenes of like 2 characters sitting in a room talking.
Yeah.
Because they're cheap. Like, get a room, stick these 2 characters in it, and have them talk about
a lot of
something.
Littlefinger and plotting and shit.
Yeah, Littlefinger and Varys and Viserys and the one slave girl in the bathtub. Yeah, Robert and Cersei in Robert's chambers having that conversation. It's just like we need time. Fill the time in. But they were good. They were still, good scenes because you're getting more information about the world. Which is
always good. But now it's
now
finally getting it.
Yes, we're getting to the end.
It's what we've all been waiting for. Dragons finally.
Yeah. So
that goddamn scorpion. Like I don't want to see a dragon die. I really don't want to see a dragon.
Oh, there's a new theory out that Drogon may not survive his wound because Qyburn is the type to have poisoned the bolt that was fired from that scorpion.
That would not surprise me.
It would not surprise me at all, but I would not like it.
One thing that's surprising though, like Euron when he attacked the ships, one of the snakes cut him, but no poison. Like what the hell is happening here?
I don't know.
Slacking. These women were slacking and they died.
Yes,
and now Euron's gonna live on. I thought I would at least hear like a cough or something when he got back to King's Landing, like some hint that he's poisoned.
Well, I mean, okay, and
then he'd come back as a zombie too.
One small issue that I have with Game of Thrones, and a lot of people honestly have with Game of Thrones, is that you don't really get a sense of time.
Oh yeah.
It just seems like these characters are able to teleport.
Especially, now they are.
Yeah.
I mean, now that like Arya got from whatever the eastern
from Essos from
Bravos all the way back to Frey's
all the way
in like an episode in like 2 scenes. I'm like, okay, so yeah, we're definitely jumping time now.
Yeah,
but I think it's good now, like with a faster pace. Like that's why these battles are able to happen every episode.
Yes, but again, we don't get a sense of the progression of time.
Yeah.
So it takes we know from episode 1 that it takes a month of riding to get from King's Landing to Winterfell. At least it did for Robert and his retinue. It took a month to get from King's Landing to Winterfell. And these characters just seem to be able to teleport. One episode, Arya is somewhere in the middle between King's Landing and Winterfell, and the next episode she's in Winterfell.
Speaking of which, you guys all said she was going back to King's Landing. I said she was going to Winterfell. So fuck all y'all. I caught that shit.
Okay, I will give you that. But,
so why wouldn't she follow the caravan back to King's Landing? She went to get away, obviously. Anyway.
Because she's a wild thing.
Wild thing.
She makes my heart sing.
But, so, speaking of the end game, how do you think it's all going down? What do you think's gonna this season first? How do you think this season's gonna end? I think this war that's going on right now, somebody's gonna finish it, and then next season's gonna be all about White Walkers. All about that war.
I think that's a little too tidy for Game of Thrones.
I mean, this season's just been so fast paced. They need to get to the end. Like next season is going to be even shorter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be 6 episodes.
Yeah,
but
so
I think
they need to get that shit done.
My prediction for the end of this season is a smash to black.
Yeah, a Sopranos finish.
Yeah.
Oh god. No.
Well, they do that. They do it to us every episode. We're like, did that just happen? Smash to black. Good. I have to wait another week.
Like marching on King's Landing and then smash him like
Jamie sinking into the depths, smash to black. Like
he's not dead though. He maybe his golden hands make him sink a little bit. He'll just have to take it off.
Yeah, it's probably hard to swim with a steel hand, especially when it's not in like swimming shape. It's in this
it's like half this weird cup.
Yeah. Like I can hang on to things, but not really.
But who do you think's gonna survive this season?
Oh god. In an ideal world, Daenerys and Jon will survive.
Yeah.
In Game of Thrones world,
somebody's going down.
Yeah, it may not. Well, I mean, Daenerys was in the strongest position ever at the start of this season. She had her Unsullied, she had her Dothraki, she had Dorne and the Tyrells on her side,
and
3 dragons,
Greyjoys, the Greyjoy fleet,
the Greyjoy fleet. And then in 2 episodes, she lost Dorne and the Greyjoy fleet, the Tyrells, most of the Unsullied.
She's got enough ships to move the Dothraki into the
Reach, she did, and
at least she has enough ships to move her troops, so that's not a total loss yet. But she's definitely gonna lose every naval battle now, especially since Euron's got a giant fucking ship that can just swallow the ship she has.
Just smash everything, and
it's like I don't know how he made that ship. So fast. But that's again like a time jump.
Just time travel and teleport.
I guess it's like in between getting to Bravos or wherever she was and flying back or sailing back, and that was enough time for him to build a whole new fleet.
Yeah, and built an entire ship, an entire fleet in the time it took Daenerys to sail.
It looked like they're like half made of metal.
Yeah,
it's like crazy, like just giant battery rams.
I didn't see a lot of trees on the Iron Islands.
Oh yeah.
So
that's what they raid for, right?
But it's just, it's a little ridiculous. But
so how's the whole thing gonna end?
Well, if you watch Game of Thrones expecting it to have a happy ending, you are not paying attention. Yeah. This is not going to end well for most anybody. We may get a good ending at the end, but we will not have a fun road getting there.
It'll be a very tough time.
If Daenerys does end up on the Iron Throne, she's going to be just broken by the end of it.
Is she going to be ruling over ashes?
I would think so, yeah.
Or ice.
Yeah, or a combination thereof. Just.
I mean, it is a song of fire and ice, right? Ice and fire.
Yeah. So, if she does eventually take the throne, I don't think it's going to be looking quite as shiny as it does now.
It's going to be nuts. Either way, gotta look forward to it.
Either way, I will watch it.
I'm gonna be super sad when it's over.
Yeah, I will watch it until it ends, and then as soon as it ends, I will start again.
Well, just knowing everything,
just
like catching all the little Easter eggs. Everybody goes back.
Yeah, and crying when Ned Stark gets his head cut off. And
that was when the show hooked me. Like,
that was the moment there where it's like this.
Sean Bean was like the one named actor on, and
he was our hero. He was our hero.
Yeah.
He was our protagonist.
He was the good guy.
They just killed the main character. What is going on?
That's when you knew this show was something different.
Yeah.
I watched the first season on DVD because I didn't even know about the show until it was already out for like months. and then it just.
Although honestly,
I watched them all in like a day.
I mean, honestly, the show had me hooked in the first episode when they pushed Bran out the window.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool.
It's like the first episode they shoved an 8-year-old out a window. Like, okay.
First, like after seeing a brother and sister fucking.
Yeah.
And like,
well, okay.
So that's it. That's just
in fairness, it was early enough in the show's runtime and meeting all these characters. We met a lot of people in the first episode. We met like 15 named characters in the first episode.
Well, like I said, I had the DVD and it had a little family tree, so I was able to look real quick. Like, wait a fucking second.
I watched it live. I watched it as first airing, and we met like 15 named characters in the first episode. So, that whole Jaime and Cersei thing. It's like I don't know who you are quite yet. I haven't formed the connection in my brain that you two are twins and are currently banging in this disused tower.
But by the end, Ned investigated, right, and found out.
Yeah, and look what
he paid for it. He paid for it.
Oh, Ned, you noble moron.
So going back to season 1, like Littlefinger betrayed Ned Stark.
Littlefinger betrayed everybody.
Bran now, being the three-eyed Raven, knows everything. Apparently, knows all the conversations Littlefinger has ever had.
Do you think is a ladder?
He is going to tell Arya that Littlefinger fucked their family up, and that he's going to be added to her list. And since she's right there, she's just going to use that dagger on him.
It's possible.
I mean, that would be a sweet justice to use the same dagger that he tried to kill Bran with.
But Bran is being really weird the last couple of episodes.
I don't know. Bran's like my least favorite character, honestly.
Yeah, he's being really weird. I mean, he has all this information, but he's not sharing.
Yeah.
Like, of all the things that you could talk about with all of your family, it's like, I see everything now, and oh, by the way, maybe I should tell you this thing that you didn't know.
He just doesn't seem to care anymore about.
Yeah. It's like, to reconnect
He cares enough to, like, help defeat the White Walkers, but that's, like, it. He doesn't give a shit about revenge.
Yeah.
And I really need him to.
Yes.
I want to see Littlefinger dead.
I mean, he's been in Winterfell for probably a couple of weeks right now. It's hard to tell because seasons don't really change and people teleport, but
it seems like he and Arya arrived the same day or something, with the time jumps and shit.
Yeah,
probably a couple days in between.
Yeah, well, I'd say a couple of weeks. He's probably been because he was in Winterfell, when Arya was still down at the crossroads.
Oh right.
So he's probably been there a couple of weeks at least. Maybe she got a fast horse and rode her way there really quick. But so he's been there a couple of weeks, and it doesn't look like he's told Sansa that R plus L equals J. It's like, I need to talk to Jon. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, come on, you tell us what's going on. Tell us
from the preview of this next episode, Jon's going to be back in Winterfell, or heading back there at least, because
it's possible. But
hears from Bran that he sees like the White Walkers, and he has another vision of the White Walkers army. So maybe we'll be getting some White Walker action sooner.
Maybe Jon will finally figure out that he's not actually a Stark.
He's not a bastard.
Yeah, that Ned wasn't his dad; he was his uncle.
He's not a Snow.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Targaryen.
Yeah, Jon Targaryen. Will we still be trying to hit on Daenerys though?
Oh, dude.
That
was like very light flirting though. I don't know what everybody's getting.
It's Jon's MO though. He takes pretty girls into caves and then.
Yeah. It's gonna be. I don't know.
I don't know. But
I hope it's not another incest-ridden family.
Yeah.
Another Targaryen dynasty.
Hey, at least then it's aunt and nephew instead of identical twin siblings.
Yeah. I don't know if that's worse or better, but still, it's weird.
There's a lot of incest on this show. There really is.
It's pretty weird. So
we could do a whole episode just counting down all the incestuous stuff that happens, but let's not because that would be creepy.
Before we get there, we can finish now. So thanks for coming on, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for talking about Game of Thrones, the best show ever.
The best show.
It's gonna end. I'm glad it's gonna end, but I don't want it to.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm torn. I mean, I would watch it for 50 more seasons, but
yeah,
we can only do so many filler episodes.
All right. So yeah. Till next time. Thanks for watching Chris and the Little Dude, Jon. Bye.